Good morning, everyone. Today is July the 21st of 2023, and it's been 2 weeks since we last visited my garden, and I'm gonna give you some updates and kind of show you some changes that have happened. So first, I wanted to show you this. Remember, I transplanted a bunch of nasturtiums that were growing voluntarily in my walkway in the garden. They all pretty much recovered. I also then planted some of my seeds that I had for cucumbers. There's 3 here and 3 here. They look good. I don't know if they'll stay here, and I'll trellis them up on this and kind of cover that window. That's probably what I'll do. I'll have to try to fix it there, and so that it can grow up. I think that would be kind of interesting to have it trellis up, and we'll see what happens. So that's that. My raspberry bush has recovered and is thriving. It's looking great. Hopefully next year I will not need to plant any flowers to kind of fill in the space so weeds don't grow. But you can see I am getting some raspberries. A little behind my neighbor's raspberry patch, but his is well established, so I'm not fretting. There's plenty of flowers on here. There's still plenty of raspberries that are forming, and I'll get to pick some fresh raspberries here maybe in the next couple weeks. So this pot was filled with marigolds and a bunch of other stuff. Some of them have passed their season and looking kind of shabby, and others are going into their prime. And I have a giant orange straw flower, and as you can see, the straw is kind of like dry and picky, and kind of sounds like paper, like the tissue paper. So I think they're like one of my top 5 favorite flowers, the straw flowers. I have nasturtium it's growing in this corner, and it's flowering very nice. Again, I like see how the nasturtium is draping over, and I think I just like that look. I have my pepper plants that I planted here that I didn't think were going to make it all bounced back. They're tall, they're beautiful. They don't have a whole lot. Well, I should take that back. A couple of days ago, they did not have a lot of flowers on them, if any at all, but they were still going, still looking good, and so I will have probably late season peppers on here. That's perfectly fine. I won't get overwhelmed with the amount of peppers that I will have coming in at one time, but these are looking great. They're tall, they're a little bushy, and looks like I'm starting to get a lot of flowers on them. This June bearing strawberry plant looks like it's having some kind of deficiency, or it could be from the heat. Not sure. I'll have to look at that, find out why that's turning that color. Oh no! And the problem with having strawberries near the ground like this is a bunny is coming in and eating my strawberries. So these were June bearing, and they flowered once in June when I first got them, and they're creating runners now, which I will propagate and put in another pot. But they seem to now be growing more again, so I'm happy with that. Again, I think I might put some kind of protective barrier on there in order to protect what strawberries I am going to get. I planted a pepper plant in here, and it didn't. That's it right there. Not gonna make it. I think this might be a weed. I'm not sure. We'll find out. These are the F1 cucumbers, in which they're not doing well here because of, I think, too much shade from the ginormous sunflowers that are volunteer that I let go. Now, one of them has opened, the others have not yet, but it looks like some of them are getting ready to. One we measured at 10.5 feet a few weeks ago, and it is still going. No head has formed on it. I'll back up in a moment and show you. Again, more nasturtium. See, with the nasturtium you can get different flowers. This one's an orangey flower, this one's a red, this one's variegated with like a salmon color flower, and it's one of the reasons why I love nasturtium. You can just get a bunch of random different colors. So here, I'll back up and I'll show you the massive sunflower patch here. And you see that this one is the one we measured at 10.5 feet a few weeks ago, and it is still going. And if you see, Joe and I measured, and that is the 15-foot mark. So I don't know if we'll meet 15 feet, but we are getting dang close. I'm gonna have tons of cherry tomatoes. Again, I love this area for tomatoes. It gets a lot of morning sun, afternoon sun, and then towards the evening, because of whatever I plant here and the tree, it gets shade to kind of cool itself off. But a little bit of blight or maybe nutrition problems, I'll take those off and they'll be perfectly fine. So also too, if you look, this tomato plant is reaching the top of my gutter there. So it's getting pretty tall itself. I planted carrots here, and I got 1 carrot out of the first batch. So I planted some more. It looks like I'm gonna have to water, even though we got rain. I've been trying to keep it covered so that it doesn't dry out quickly in the heat, but it's just so dry here, it's almost impossible right now to get them started. I'll just keep trying. So as most of you know, I put this paper down. It's not breathable to let water in. It was a very poor choice, but I used what I had. This is what we had, and I needed to smother out some wild carrot that I was in a seed packet that I got that was labeled edible flowers. And yes, it is, but it also spreads everywhere. So it was a very poor choice on my behalf. See, I can't seem to get rid of the wild carrot everywhere. I will, yeah, it needs to go. It's beautiful, but it spreads horrible. So that is to help try to smother out any weeds that, they're not necessarily weeds, but just undesirables. These flowers are absolutely gorgeous and are taking over the pot in which I planted 2 lavender plants in here, and they're just not doing well. I'm gonna try to get them out of there and put them somewhere else. Didn't know that plant was gonna thrive so well that it smothered the other plants I planted there. And it's a big pot too. So my lilies, yes, I've got a good bloom of lilies this year. I don't know if I shared photos of that. I'm still battling the lily beetles, and I will probably spray another round of BT And as I see them, I pick them and squish them, and they're horrible. But at least I got a good bloom this year. They're getting all their leaves mostly to get all the rest of the sun once they lose their petals. And we'll have a great strong year next year. Echinacea is growing in right here. I planted these hollyhocks, and I got a little baby one growing in here that was just planted this year. It probably won't get big this year, but it'll come back next year strong and will flower like these two. And hopefully these two will lay down lots of seeds, and this area will be filled with hollyhocks next year. So as the lilies lose their petals, the echinacea and hollyhocks will come in here and fill in the area very nicely. All of my peonies have flowered, and I need to come in and remove all of the heads, and so that they can focus in on grabbing as much nutrients as possible and putting them back into their roots, and I don't get any disease from that. Okay, we're getting to the point where I've had some construction. We purchased an Amazon shed and we are turning it into a coop. I don't know if I've spoke before, but my chicken coop was a COVID pandemic shutdown build. My husband and I don't know much about building, and we did what we could based on the information that we had at that time. Some of you were getting into chicken keeping at that time know very well that coops were much desired, and because of everyone being shut down, nothing was being produced. So this area right now is just freshly, not finished, but freshly done. And we're actively continuing this weekend to finish it. And the girls are not living in it right now, but soon, this weekend, I'm hoping. So what we did was we tore up the fencing here, and I'm gonna do a full coop tour and get you all up to speed on everything. I'll send a link to the shed that we used and kind of a quick, as of we were building it, do's and don'ts, likes and dislikes so far. Again, they're not even moved in yet. We haven't even gone through a winter yet. So maybe later next year, I'll do a full like and dislike of this. So just to kind of give you a heads up. But I'll let you see what it looks like right now. And here, these are just pots I had in front anyways on my old one, and next year I'm gonna get big planters in front, and we'll figure out what I want to plant in front, but that'll be next year. This year is already full speed ahead. We're halfway through summer. But yeah, I really like how this kind of sticks out so that it's away from the rain and sun, and it still creates a little airflow, and I can see in, because as you can see, I have a solid door, a sun barrier, shade cloth, and I can't really see until I open the door, and so that's kind of really nice, and it's protected from the elements as well. Not fully, but majority. So that's really nice. I don't know how well these cement pads are going to work out, but so far they look nice. What's going to happen too is we're going to put a 4x6 horse stall underneath, because we did run into some problems, and again, that'll be in the video. But they're also going to lose some of the space because the old fence line was right here. And as you can see, where am I going to put the post for the fencing? So that's one thing that we didn't think of as we were putting these down. No big deal. They're going to get pushed back just a little bit, and we're gonna put it right there. So they're not losing too much. It's a shame because this could potentially have been a shade place for them. And I kind of like seeing them from my window, but again, they still have plenty of space and plenty of shade that's gonna be in the process. So I do have some scrap pieces in which I will be finishing a sandbox for them there. So they'll lose this area where they were using as dust bathing. I will gain it back for my trellised items here, more garden stuff. And but then they'll have a shade place and a sandbox. So that will be nice for them. Moving along, we again have some volunteer sunflowers that are looking great, creating additional shade and weather cover for them. Look at how beautiful these cosmos and calendulum look together, the purple and the yellows. I have an nasturtium that's like kind of an orangey color there. The catnip is looking great. I try to pick the buds, but I'm getting a little overwhelmed with everything that's gonna start coming in soon. Some more random dill. And this catnip's gonna go to flower soon. The hydrangea is still in there, still real low, not real tall. But I think I'm gonna buy some fertilizer specifically designed for hydrangeas and flowers. I want to show you this one. This is a jack-o'-lantern on a stick is what the seed packet is. I have 2 of them. This one's doing the best, but I'm pretty excited to see what it's gonna look like. This is a non-edible plant. My tomatoes, early cascade, doing well. Suffering from maybe a nutrition problem. I did fertilize before it rained, but that may not have taken. It was a liquid instant fertilizer. 4 tomatoes. And yeah, we'll see. But I'm still getting tomatoes. Look, I'm just waiting for them to turn red. They're looking great. Still really tall. Not growing too much taller, but still looking good. I'll show you. See, early cascade. Kind of like the ones that you get from the grocery store. These are going to be a little smaller though. I really enjoyed them last year. So they're looking great this year. The peach tree is looking great. It's growing a little lopsided. And I'm going to have to learn how to prune that so I can have an even tree. I don't want some leaning to start happening or some uneven distribution of the limbs. So the cherry tree is looking great. There's still a lot of great growth. It's growing straight up. I like it. My potatoes are starting to flower. So once that all dies back, I'll be ready to go in there and pick it up. And I'm going to turn this area right here into a composting ring. So as I get things I need to compost, I'm going to throw it in there and let the chickens kind of pick at the deteriorating food or plant life, organic material, and stuff like that, and it'll be a great source of bugs for them as well. Because the coop is not ready, you see I have their new nesting box. Give you a little reveal on that one. Outside, they seem to like it. It does get a little hot because it's maybe not hot, but just full sun. Just in a poor location. It's really the only other place I could put it. But they are laying eggs in there. That Missy is a little upset about her location of her eggs, especially the first day. She's been there 3 times trying to select a box. So we will see. I've only had one random egg. And funny, it was Sage, my Easter egger, and I had to go Easter egg hunting. So a lot of my sunflowers are now coming in over here, which is great. The birds will enjoy the seeds. They will drop them over the fence line here for my girls to get some free food. So remember, this was a random hodgepodge. It was supposed to be all corn and sunflower, and then I was going to plant squash. And I had some extra tomato plants, so I have 2 tomato plants in here, and then they're just doing okay. They're not going to get trimmed. They're not going to get staked. So we'll see what happens. Corn is got some seeds, and I am getting some corn, some husks. You see that? I don't know how good they'll be, how big they'll be, but we'll find out. I thought this was a pumpkin plant, but it is actually a zucchini. And let me see. Yeah, see, like, that right there is a zucchini. So I'm not gonna have any pumpkin this year, or it'll be really late, because I'll show you my pumpkin plant that I know is a pumpkin plant. And we'll move along to the acorn squash that I have here. This one I bought from a greenhouse, and its friends are not doing good, but this one, remember I told you, is thriving. Look at how big that leaf is. I have tons of flowers that are coming in, and look, I have a squash, and pretty excited about that. Everything, look, more squash. Let's see if we can zoom in. Come on. See, right there, those are the little babies. So everything is looking excellent. Oh, see, it's vining. There it is. So it's gonna grow wild. Oh no. Oh no. Let's see if I can squish it right now. Gotcha. Oh no. That was the first squash bug I've seen over here. I will continue to monitor and get what I can. So thankfully it wasn't with a partner, so that's maybe a good sign. So we'll see what happens. I do have, oh, see, look at that corn. So again, they're not very tall. They're barely over this 4-foot fence. Barely even taller than me. But we'll see. We'll continue to monitor. I thought this was watermelon. My mistake. It is a summer squash. So this is what happens when you don't label things. Is you think you plant one thing and you know that that's what it is, until surprise, you get something different. So I'm very horrible about not labeling some things, especially when I'm trying to hurry up and get things into the ground. I do work a full-time job, and I do have other activities that I do and other people to take care of. So, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's a surprise, and sometimes it's a disappointment, because then I thought I planted something, so I don't plant something else or more, and then I end up with nothing. But that's okay. It's an adventure. And look at these beautiful sunflowers. And I'll just give you a different angle of what this looks like. I think it's great, and it kind of creates shade in the afternoon for everyone. You see it's already starting to create shade. And there's Walter. He wants me to throw him food for his ladies. And if I don't, he gets really mad and charges the fence. Sorry, not today, Walter. So, I should not have watered these onions before we got the storm. Maybe some of the other plants, but not specifically these onions in the pot. And I'll show you why in a second. I think these ones are okay. Yeah, these ones are okay. And they'll be okay. I might be ready for harvest. They're tiny, which I kind of figured. I planted them close together. I planted them in a pot. Maybe got a little too much water at times. But that's okay. It's better than not planting anything at all because I ran out of space. These are super hot chilies that I bought from the greenhouse, and these plants are getting a little bigger, but not much, and they're loaded right now. They are super hot. I mean, that's the name. They are hot. So I am getting tons of peppers right now. Again, the plants aren't as big as they were last year, but we've had some cooler nights, so I think that kind of stunted them. It is getting hotter during the day now, so it takes longer for it to cool off in the evening, so that is helping. Now is the time, since we just got our last rain for the next 10-day streak so far, is I'm gonna have to be diligent on making sure that the soil is not dry, but not sopping wet either. Peppers don't like wet feet, a lot of wet feet. They don't want to be soaking. But tons of peppers coming in. I don't know that they'll be very big. The plants aren't huge, but they're bigger than normally. So we'll see. Some of these are jalapenos. This one I think is a hot pepper or a poblano pepper maybe. I have ordered a garden marker, sunproof marker, because although the tag did remain, the writing is gone. So surprise, we'll see what we get. I know these are jalapenos. Jalapeno. But some of these I had to replace, remember? So we'll see what we get off of those. Again, this is a F1 hybrid that I planted out here. Like I said in the beginning of the video, on the other location where I planted those F1s, I don't think they're getting enough sun, whereas here they're getting plenty of sun. And although they're in a pot, I'm still staying up to date on keeping it watered. It's growing up this fence, growing well. I do have some cucumbers coming in if they were fertilized. I probably will trim some of these like shoots just so that it just stays on the fencing and not goes out into my yard. So normally I wouldn't, but because they would get ran over by the lawnmower anyways, that let's not put any excess energy into growing something that's going to get ran over by the lawnmower. So we'll see how that goes. And this is a pepper area. What do I want to call this area? What do you think I should call this area? Next year, this will be all sunchoke, sunflowers, and corn. And it's going to be more like an L. So it'll be here and then go down that fence line. I don't know how far down. Maybe 8 feet to kind of give them shade and privacy from the morning sun. And I don't know what he is growling at. Who knows? He's an angry guy. Okay, so I wanted to show you the onions I talked about. And I had pulled a few. All of these are just done. Two of them were rotted and bugs were getting to them. The soil is saturated with water. I don't know if, I know what the problem is. This is a double pot. I cannot get these two pots to come apart from each other. And the one is kind of trashed anyways. But what the deal is I betcha the drainage is really poor because of that. So I'm gonna have to either work on getting these apart or creating more drainage holes in the bottom that go through both pots. So, bummer, they were looking great. They must have got saturated and bugs started getting to them. They're like mush. It's gross. Some of them were okay, I pulled them. Others not. Moving on to the big garden. Beans are finally coming in. Onions will get pulled at the end of this weekend because they are starting to fall over. And look at how big they are. And because we got rain, it looks like it's time. It's definitely time. They're getting big. Some of them are not, but that's okay. I do have some hollyhock in here, calendulum, more cosmos, the straw flower, Jill, and this is, I can't remember what the name of these are, but these were from last year. These are bulbs. These are flowers. They're like pretty red flowers. Some of these are good, and some of them are not. I'll pull what I can. Lettuce is looking good here as I weed. So lettuce is doing well. Now, that's okay. A little late to the game. More flowers. Onions need to be pulled out. I may plant, don't know what I'm gonna plant here. I thought I had a plan, but we've been so busy. I could plant pumpkin here, watermelon. I could plant more zucchini. I could plant another pumpkin maybe. Maybe I can pick up an already started pumpkin plant and just let it vine and go wild. As long as it doesn't go into the grass where it will get run over. I think we'll be okay. But again, there's still flowers in the middle. I don't want wasted space. I could, right now, just have this be a bare spot and plant broccoli, my winter crop, my fall crop stuff, not winter, because we can't grow anything in the winter here, not without something to cover, to protect from the weight of the snow and the cold. But I could plant some broccoli here and try. Cabbage is not looking bad. Not a lot of whole cabbage loopers or cutworms. I've been trying to keep up on BT and hand picking as much as I possibly can. But maybe that's what I'll do. As this will be an empty space for a bit, I'll start some cauliflower and broccoli, and maybe I'll get some crop this year. The peppers here are making a comeback. I think in the next week or 10 days, I think we're gonna see a massive jump in their sizes, because although it is 80 out during the day, it's still getting down into the 60s at night here. So I think that really is stunting some growth of these peppers. But in a week from now, it is going to be 70 at night. So I believe that's when we'll see a massive jump in everything. So I planted these. I'm not sure if they were in my last video 2 weeks ago or if the garlic was still here. But when the garlic came out, I had started some zucchini, which I think I had showed you guys. And here's what it looks like. So I went to water them 2 nights ago, and I was shocked at how big they had gotten. Now, I have not found any squash bug intruders or eggs yet, but I keep checking daily. However, I did see 2 squash vine borer moths, not together, thankfully. They were a week apart. I killed both of them, and again, I monitor daily for eggs and for the moths so that I can have a beautiful crop and get tons of zucchini where I will be complaining that I have too much. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plants in here. Not all of them, like this one, is a summer squash, but most of this is zucchini. Look at that little zucchini. Yay! I will have zucchini this year. But yes, see, there's remnants of my kill. This is a volunteer cherry plant, cherry tomato plant, and I can't even, it's just going to go everywhere, and that's okay. I only have 2 cherry plants, as I showed you up front. They're still going to produce a lot of cherries, but you know, everyone loves cherry tomatoes. There's tons of cherry tomato recipes out there. You can do a lot with cherry tomatoes, and that's what I will do. A lot of this will be just given away. If you are a part of my cycle trip fitness gym, you will see tons of cherry tomatoes in baskets. Just please help yourself. But they are not ready yet. They are still all green. I'm assuming with the cooler nights that it has really put everything behind, and once we start getting warmer at night, we will see an uptick in everything will just explode, I'm sure. So I really like planting the squash here in this bed. It looks great. It's easy to get to. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to have them go vertically or just leave them lay flat on the ground, because I have no bedding down. I have nothing. It's just whatever leftover straw that was there. So I don't know what would be easier to monitor for pests, having them vertical or laying them flat. I've always just don't lay them flat. One year I did do 1 plant vertically, and the plant didn't make it. None of them made it last year or the year before. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Put the comments below on a friendly debate on which way is better, what way works for you. So again, mowed down by deer or something, probably deer, and they came back. I may not get a lot, they may not be big, but I'm still getting tomatoes off of them. So if there's a little bit left of the plant, let it go. So see, I said I wasn't going to, but I couldn't help myself, because some of it was looking really bad, and then I'm thinking to myself, how am I gonna know when I have a pest problem like tomato hornworms if I can't see through the bush to monitor that kind of issue? So I went and I trimmed. Some of them I trimmed really heavy, some of them I didn't, like this one I didn't. I just kind of cleaned up the bottom. They were also choking out my rhubarb plant, which is doing really well. I'm excited to harvest some next year. And they were choking out my zinnias, which I didn't plant any. I did all cosmos. So here are my zinnias. I have 6 or 7 zinnias this year. That's it. Disappointed in myself. Basil. Some basil's looking good. It's just pinching off so that they don't go bitter on me. More nasturtium. And this is the one that was massively bushy, and what had happened was this cheap cage that I bought was falling over onto the other because it was so bushy, and we had gotten a storm and the wind had just blown it, that it had damaged the structure of the soil, so that even if I did pull it straight and bend it back into place, it still just flopped back over. So I had to put a post in to pull the cage back upright so that it wouldn't smother itself or the plant next to it. And I heavily pruned it. That did help some too. So as you can see, and another thing too, I thought it was going to be loaded because it was so bushy, that it actually really isn't. I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. It is, excuse me. But not as much as I thought. This is a rugger, by the way. A lot of double blossoms, but that's okay. They still taste good on a sandwich. Moving along to my Romas. Looking good. Some scrawny little bean plants that are still producing, and I have munched on them, but nothing like, wow, I've got a lot of beans. Again, I think it's because these tomato plants were just, have to prune them if I'm going to garden close like this. So I've got 8 tomato plants in here and 4 bush bean plants. So if I'm going to get that close with my plants, then I have to prune. Tons of Romas on here. They're looking great. They're upright. They're off the soil. I'm going to be able to see if I have issues. I'm going to be able to see when they ripen so that I can get in there and grab them when I can. These are the ones I bought from the store. Let me see if the tag is still in here. Yes, Anaheim's medium. And I believe that is what is in over there, because there's only 4 here, so that means the other 2 must be over there. I hope. We'll see when these peppers grow in to see what they look like. But yeah, they're looking great. This bush bean's looking good. So here is my corn bed. It's looking good. Not as tall as I expected. Some of them are getting the part that you need. This is why you have to grow your corn in more than just a few rows. Because what happens is these seeds drop down on the next leaf, and that's how it pollinates your corn. So they're not as big as my neighbor's. They're taller than his privacy fence. I think it's at least they'll say 8, maybe 7-foot fence. So his is about a week or 2 ahead of mine. But I don't know if mine will get that tall. Just saying. There's some more zinnia. This is my pumpkin plant. It is getting better. It obviously has maybe some kind of deficiency, or maybe it's just not hot enough. There is another pumpkin plant I have protected from things, bugs, birds, whatever. I believe these are pumpkin as well. This is a lemon cucumber. Oh, go little sweat bee, go. It's not looking too good, but it could be because old seed. Could be because soil. It could be because of the shade. It could be because it's not been hot enough at night. Same with these. These are tiger melons. They seem to be very behind. But I did see a TikTok of someone that said that what you can plant in July, and one of them is cantaloupe melons, melon family, pumpkins. So that could be the reason why. It's just they need the heat. So, and because we have been so cool at night, I totally believe that that is the reason why some of these summer loving plants are stunted. More lettuce. Remember when I was complaining I didn't have any lettuce? Well, somebody's getting some free lettuce because I've already done one cut back, and I'll show you in a minute, a week ago, and the lettuce is still good. Rinsed it off, put a paper towel in the Ziploc bag, left it unsealed, like partially sealed, put it in my little crisper drawer, and I still have fresh lettuce that's not looking wilty or mushy or anything like that. And I have way more that's coming in. So these are the acorn squash, and see, I have more acorns. Smaller plant than the other one. Look at how small the leaves are, but still gonna get something. Hoping that maybe they'll just grow up on the trellis, but they just seem to just bush out. So maybe that's step one, and step two is to now grow up something or spread out. So sage plant is looking great. You see I cut out all the dead flowers, and I have purple flowers are the black beans, and the red flowers are the scarlet runners, which you can see here is a black bean. It's getting up the trellis. I'm excited for them to just boom next week. I feel that this whole area here is just going to be filled with beans. Same with the watermelon. These are watermelon plants, and I believe that they have been stunted because of the cooler nights. And I feel that next week, I feel that they're going to be like just take off. I'm hoping. And these are the scarlet runners, and you'll see all the way up to there already, one of them. So I'm pretty excited about that. We'll come around and look at these tomatoes. These are ponderosas and brandywines. So I have two of each in here. I believe these are the seed tag is gone. I mean, it's there. Oh wait, but that tag is. So these two are the ponderosas, and these two are the brandywines. So I started some radishes, and you know radishes only take 30 days. This has been longer than 30 days. I believe the heat or possibly overnutrition have stunted these. Now radishes you can grow in depleted, they don't like a lot of nutrients. So I believe that is the problem with these. I had planted spinach here, and they did have some growth, and then immediately because of the heat, they just shriveled up and died. So basil's looking okay here. This is a banana plant, pepper plant. I'm gonna have some banana peppers soon. So here is some more lettuce I planted. I tried some spinach here. Nope, carrots. And you can see I only got one little carrot. And I'm really struggling with carrots this year. So, well, there's a little more carrot. I only got 1 carrot seed out of the first, three. But I think, as you can see, I think soil's shifted. So we got a lot of rain and probably washed it, moved it around, and that's okay. These are supposed to be beefsteak, and the plants are a little stunted. I am getting tomatoes off of them, but usually beefsteaks are big plants, so not sure. Again, I think maybe the cooler nights are a factor. It could be nutrition in my soil, which I have ordered a soil testing kit to do quick testing. Now, if it comes back where I don't have any problems, or it identifies a problem, I may send out then my soil, but we'll see what those results are going to be, and I will take you along for that journey, because I sure would like to know what's going on with my grapevine. I mean, a lot of it is dying, but yet again, there's some healthy growth. So I don't know. I don't know much about grapes, and we'll just see. Maybe it takes a long time to get established, and apparently I need to do some more research. But as you can see, I cut all of this lettuce back, and I have a ton of lettuce, like a whole gallon bag full of lettuce, and it is already ready to pick again. Now, I may have to cut it back before we start getting some really hot nights and hot days next week. We have like a 95 day scheduled. I may cut it back, and then I have some shade cloth that I can use, and I will shade this area so that it hopefully keeps it cool to continue to have a lettuce crop all summer long. This is a salvia plant. Look at the beautiful purple flowers. I don't really do anything with this, but remember, this was covered with aphids earlier. The aphids are gone, the ants are gone. It's looking beautiful. This is where you get your stevia from. But I don't do anything with this. I just think that the flowers are gorgeous. They're a great companion plant. So I just grow it. I have basil has gone to flower. I must have missed it when I was pruning, so that's okay. It will bring in the pollinators when this tomato plant recovers and starts really putting on a lot of buds. Mostly I grow basil just to kind of help the tomato plants. They say that it's supposed to help with the flavoring of the tomatoes. I just think more it's a great companion plant for the tomato. Not sure the science behind it. Everyone keeps saying that. I think they're a great companion plant. I think that basil, when it does flower, is pretty. I love the smell of it. Not big on the taste unless you're mixing it for like an Italian dish or something like that. I have plenty of calendulum, and look at all of these seeds. They will drop seeds, and I will have calendulum forever and ever and ever in this area, I'm sure. So all of these marigolds have died. I have not had time to start any more seeds, so otherwise I probably would have filled this area already. Let me know what you think I should plant here, and maybe I'll hit up the greenhouse and see what they have left and just fill in this dead area, so that's one less thing that I have to weed, like this and this. So this is a candy corn plant. It's supposed to be a vine. I'm trying my hardest to get it to reach up there, but with all this wind, So we'll see what that looks like. I'm hoping it looks pretty cool. And hopefully I didn't make a mistake with it being a vining plant. We'll see. Kale's looking a little heat stressed. It's turning some colors, but still really good. I trim it up and I toss it to the chickens, and they absolutely love it. And especially if there are cutworms or cabbage looper worms on them. I've been pretty good about trying to keep up on that this year. We did get some rain last night. Some areas got hit with some pretty powerful wind, but either this dried up because I did not check yesterday, or that was all that we got. Who knows? But more cosmos, looking really great. Look at how tall this is. I love cosmos. Maybe not calendulum, but cosmos definitely. Yeah, definitely sunflowers. Nasturtium. Let's see, zinnias, and hollyhocks are on my top favorite flowers. And they are definitely self-seeder. So once you plant one, you will always have them. So again, this bed is kind of looking a little bad. These are those super chili hot peppers, small plants. Someone came by and ate all of my Swiss chard, and it was like down to a nub. There were hardly any leaves left. They got through my little barrier that I did have here, so I removed some from other places that were just getting too big, and they're recovering nicely. See? And they're protected until they get too big for these cages. And they are waste baskets from Dollar Tree. So the leeks are looking good. What survived my chicken attack. This is a extra tomato plant that I'm just gonna let go. It's better to have that than nothing there. See, the cabbage has a lot of holes, but I keep checking. They are not from cutworms or cabbage loopers, so it must be some other kind of bug. But I'm getting a little cabbage there and there. This plant was planted too close. Tomatillos are looking good. Remember, these got chopped up. They got ate by, see, there's remnants of it. A deer or bunny, and they're coming back. This one was left alone. You can see the difference in the height of them and the structure of it. See how it's kind of branching out where, you know, this one is too, but it's shorter, and this one is not because it's got chopped off its branch. So it's only got one now. But I did have some tomatillos. I wonder if somebody ate them. But they're looking good. Their flowers are very unique. I've never had them before, so I thought I'd give them a try. Here's another cabbage. So it's getting ate up by something. I did spray these with BT, but we did have some rain, so I may spray again, just so that I'm staying vigilant. 3 years of this plant. This is a black carnation, and I just absolutely love the smell of them. I watched a video where someone propagated off of this, but I have to pick a part that doesn't have a flower on it and then try to propagate, because I just absolutely love them. I think I still have seeds for them, but they would be 3 years old. I'd probably be better to try to propagate rather than try to grow from seed. More bean plants, looking better, looking good. This one is from a seed. These ones I think I planted from a greenhouse twice. These are the black semen tomato plants. They are a heirloom tomato plant, and 2 of them are looking good. This one was not looking so good. This one is doing horrible. And again, I don't know if it's blight or if it's a nutrient deficiency. I have grown tomatoes next to roses before and not had a problem. So I don't know if it's the variety, if they're just prone to disease, but that's the reason why I went in and trimmed up tomatoes. I did spray with a baking soda or vegetable oil water mix to try to help so that these 2 don't get it. And I trimmed up all of the blight leaves, and I see that there's still more. Again, that's why I'm doing a soil test, because I'm not sure if it is blight or if it's a soil problem. So I'm just kind of weeding that out. So bean plants are super small. Again, it could be because we've had some cooler nights. Chives have gone to flower and are in seed. They're looking great. Roses are, having new growth. This year I will cut them back, cut off on any dead, and hopefully next year they'll just boom. I can also propagate, so that's going to be my experiment too, because I think I'm just going to fill in that area and that area with another rose bush. Oh, and I just now noticed this. Look at this. I have black beans. So these are not for me to pick off and eat. These beans are the hard beans that you would get from the grocery store, black beans. So they have to get to the point where, they're hard and big and lumpy, and then you break them open and they're dry and they're ready for storage to make in recipes like chili. So they're already growing up. They are reaching out, and I just try to get them to trellis up. And we'll fill this in very nicely, as well as the scarlet runners on this side. No beans yet for the scarlet runners. So lots of flowers, but I haven't seen any little, like this, like these little beans. No greeny beanies yet, which is weird. I thought was really weird. I've not seen any. Do you see them? Am I missing them? But I was super excited. Oh wait, nope, that's not it. So we'll just see as it continues to grow. So I think that is complete of my garden tour. Well, let's see, I gotta train this to go with gloves very carefully and go up the trellis. But lots of bare spots, and don't be afraid of bare spots. I'm afraid of bare spots because that's more weeding that I have to do. But like I said, just kind of have a plan for things. Like when I had garlic in here, I had to think, what can I put in there in its place? And my thought is, I do horrible with zucchini the last 3 years. I plan it out with everything else, and they just get decimated by squash bugs, stink bugs. Last year it was box elder bugs, and I didn't know that I had a squash vine borer problem until I saw my first moth this year. So it could be possible that I also was dealing with that. So I thought, you know what? Let's plant them in July and find out what happens. So that was the space. After garlic came out, I seed started some, because in July, you're not going to probably see so many plants. And I wanted to guarantee myself that I had zucchini plants available, so I seed started them myself. And look at how great they're looking. No powdery mildew. Just been trying to stay on top of things, and hopefully I can make it to where I can get some harvested, shredded up, put in my freezer to make what I need to make with them throughout the year. Usually it goes in my dog food, as I make Hatfield homemade dog food as a topper to his dry food, and he absolutely loves it. But I do make zucchini bread, zucchini muffins, and today, because my neighbor has zucchini, he gave me some, I'm going to try zucchini brownies. So we'll see what we can get. All right, thank you and have a great day, and I will be dropping probably 2 videos in the next week or two. One on the Amazon shed converted into a coop reveal, and may make a separate video for the likes and dislikes after we go through maybe a month of that. And then I'll give you another update on what we going to plant here after I pull my onions. Thanks and have a great day.